every element of the face will work together to make this expression work. If one thing is off, then it can throw off the entire expression. It's a very delicate balance when you create expressions. So you can kind of see how all the elements of the face are working together to kind of sell this expression, right? The eyes are half lit, show off how if I change even just one small thing about the expression, it will completely change whatever the expression looks like. And that's what I really, really want to show this time around. I've done it with anger, I've done it with happiness, I've done it with sadness over the course of the past few classes, but anger is 100% my favorite one because it really demonstrates it the best with an expression. Because one wrong thing and you can mess up the entire expression. It's the worst. It's like if you have the eyebrow in like the slightest wrong position, the expression can go from going super excited to like just kind of meh, right? Or even from excited to like indecisive, right? It's a very delicate process when you have an extreme expression. Speaking of, I can't seem to get this one right. It's the different shapes of the mouth. It's like really getting that in there. His teeth. Never draw every single tooth. Like you can, but that usually I use that for horror because a lot of the times if you draw every single tooth, it makes the character look a lot scarier. I've mentioned that before, but I'm gonna mention it again. Because when you do an angry expression, if you do a creepy kind of smile, then drawing every single tooth is your best, like, it's the best thing you can do for that expression. If you have something angry, you draw a few of the teeth. Like, accentuate those a little bit more. Like, you can see here, there's no teeth that are really being accentuated. That's from the crosshair. It's just all, like, kind of one big block. But you can see from this expression, I have a few kind of teeth being pointed out there. And that also sells the anger a lot. You can even see a little bit of the gums. Drawing gums in is it's a good practice for when you want to push expressions a lot more. You can make expressions look a lot more gritty. Right, and these eyebrows very, very pointed, very angular. You really have them going downwards. In like this really angry, enraged expression, right? And that's another thing that you really want with anger. Depending on how angry this character is, these eyebrows are going to really sell that expression, right? Eyebrows, I've always said, are like probably one of the most important parts of expression. I've always found anyway, because like your eyebrows can make or break an expression, 100%. The eyes, like the cheesiest line I've always heard is like the eyes are the windows to the soul or whatever. But in terms of illustration, it is absolutely correct, and it is the most key factor to an expression, because if their eyes, like someone can be smiling, but if you can see like someone's eyes will give away everything. It's like you can see that sadness, if you can see that hesitation, that's what really will take an expression to a different level. So if I were to take this expression, right, if you look at it right now, it looks pretty angry. It's definitely not a happy one. If I were to take this expression, right, I can change a few things about this expression, and that'll change the way that this expression looks completely. So if I raise the eyebrows, like I mentioned before, they're really important. And if I just went like this, right, if I change the angle of the S, right, now that expression is horrified, right? From angry to like this completely horrified looking expression, right? If I go back to, let me go back to my history. If I go back to these eyebrows, right? Now it's like angry again. It's from like horrified to angry in like 2 steps, right? Just changing the eyebrows. If I change the way that these pupils look, he still looks angry, but for some reason he looks a little bit less angry, right? And that's because the pupils are larger. When changing pupil size is like a huge way. It's like a really big way to change how this expression looks, right? He's angry here. He wants to murder somebody here, right? It's like that. It's not completely different, but it certainly makes a difference, right? If I were to change the eyes, if I had them, it's less like this, more like this. And if I were to change just this entire jaw area, right? If I just kind of had it like, I need to squash that back down. That means that this neck is wrong. That's okay, just for the sake of this lesson. Now he's like silently frustrated, right? It's like he's like sitting here and like he's just seeing somebody talk about something he completely disagrees with, right? But he can't say anything, right? It's like that silent, angry contemplation, right? That difference is huge. And that really, that shows off how different your expressions can be just by changing a couple of factors, right? And I implore you to do that. If you draw an expression, you finish it, you think you're finished it, change a couple things. Like just maybe angle the eyebrows different, maybe have the eyes a different shape, maybe have the mouth at a different angle, you know? Really change up how the expression looks. Maybe you'll find that you actually like the changed up one more. If you're doing this digitally, then you're a lot safer on that aspect because you have your history tool, you have an undo, you can just go back to what you had it as initially. If you're doing it traditionally, I mean, you know, you don't really have that undo option, redo option. But that's all good. I still encourage you to do that. Yeah. For my character that's more in my style, I'll go to someone that's a little bit simpler, just to really show you that you can do an expression on any sort of character, right? It doesn't have to be somebody more complex with more human anatomy. It's like when you stare at a like Kirby, right? How do you really emote with Kirby, right? You can do so much with Kirby. Kirby is a circle with a couple of dots for eyes, right? He doesn't really have eyebrows, but that doesn't mean you can't give him any. Even if I didn't draw him with eyebrows, there's so much you can do with Kirby. He's such a blank canvas. Let me do a couple of Kirby. So and just to make it harder on myself, I won't give him eyebrows. I generally do, just to kind of sell the expression more. But just to make it a little bit harder on myself, I won't draw any eyebrows. If you're doing Kirby, by the way, there's no way to do a bust shot of Kirby, to be real, so just draw the entire body. It's the easiest thing to do. So I'm gonna do something more elated. I'm gonna do a really happy one. So really open up that mouth. Really, it takes up like 90% of his body, dude. Just really open that up. And he doesn't have any teeth. There's a whole Kirby Right Back At You episode about how he doesn't have teeth. That's a show from 2001. It's old. It ran for 100 episodes and then it never continued. You can find, straight up, you can find all 100 episodes on YouTube, and that's what I watched in 4th grade, and it was the best thing ever. I look back on it now, and that voice acting is hilarious. Meta Knight's Mexican. Meta Knight, straight up, he's like Spanish. It's great. Yes, so if you have kind of Kirby going on here, okay, this is more elated. If you don't have eyebrows, one thing that you can do is eye shines. Your eye shines, especially with anime, your eye shines will sell so much about this character, right? The way that the shines look, the way that they're organized, how many there are, it sells so much about this character, right? Like even using no eyebrows, right? Like it looks so different. Again, if I were to switch these, something like this, now he's just happy, right? But like that's like, whoa, right? There's like, I don't know why I made that noise. I'm so sorry. What's that expression? It's like that expression. It's like amazement, right? It goes from happy to amazement, right? And it's like these eye shines are definitely like when someone is amazed, when someone is having a revelation. That's the trope in anime, right? So no eyebrows, work with the eye shines. I'll do someone who's less human. who has less of a humanoid face. I'm gonna do Whitney from Animal Crossing. Whitney is a wolf, so she has a muzzle. She's not human whatsoever. So we're gonna do someone who has less humanoid features and how you can really express emotion through that. So the cool thing about animals and doing more animalistic creatures is that you can use the elements of the face that we don't have. So I'm gonna do something a little more nasty, a little more vicious. I love drawing teeth so much. She's a wolf, so she probably has a lot of pointed teeth. Even though this is Animal Crossing, it's supposed to be a lot cuter. But I draw things with my own style. Working with a muzzle, working with more elements of the face, because humans' faces don't protrude out this far. You still have to work with all of that. And the cool thing with dogs and cats and things with longer ears is you can also play with those as well, because they are, well, some people are able to kind of wiggle their ears. Dogs and cats are able to fold their ears back, move them completely, twitch them, all that stuff. So with this, an angrier expression, you would have the ears folded back some more. And what's cool is you can also play around with their pupils as well. You can do that with humans, but like with animals, it sells so much more. It's like just slits. When you have an angry expression, oh, this thing that I do sometimes as well, when someone is angry, when someone's distressed, I have little eyes around the pupils as well. Some people do that, some people don't. I find that it's very, very effective, but some people don't like the look of it. It's all up to you. Yeah, when you have, with dogs, what they do a lot, when they're snarling or growling at you, their lips actually curl backwards. So you can see they're baring their fangs at you. I love drawing snarling faces. It's so much fun. Of course, this is a little bit more advanced in comparison to this, because this is what you're used to, and this is like a whole other species. But if you were planning on doing somebody who wasn't human, then here you go. Ooh, you know what? Let's do Meta Knight. And the reason why I'm going to do Meta Knight is because Meta Knight has little to no facial features to work with. He has a mask. So really all you have reliance on are his eyes, right? His eyes and the way that you surround him. Right, so I think that, or the way that you draw him completely, right? So with Meta Knight, because he has a mask and he has no real facial expressions to work with, right? That means you have reliance on his eyes, and you have reliance on the way that you draw him in general, the angle, the way that he looks, right? You have something more low down like this, right? This would be where color would really come into handy, if you have a character that doesn't have that many facial expressions to work with. Or facial features to work with, sorry. This is where color and atmosphere and body positioning would really come into play. I doubt that anyone has a character that's like this, where you don't have any facial features to really work with, other than your eyes. I'm just showing you, just to kind of show you how you would do it. So Meta Knight's body is pretty small, you can kind of just work with this. The thing with anime characters is that they don't tend to show their teeth that much unless they're like trying to grit them. So when they're laughing like this, it's like very much just like, it looks like a lake, right? It's just an open, it's just an open